Yo, what up? It's your boy, JJ Stone, aka O Doctor. Welcome to another episode of IQMZ Tech. If you're here, I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube and make yourself useful. And anywhere else you're listening to, just come over to YouTube and hit subscribe on the YouTube. I don't care if this is iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Just open up YouTube and then come over here and hit subscribe for you, boy, and I'll be happy. Right, Ryan?
Right. Absolutely. Please subscribe so we don't have to do OnlyFans.
Well, you got to stop bringing up these OnlyFans because somebody's going to find my OnlyFans and then we're going to be in trouble because you say it enough, people are going to think it's real. And I do have an OnlyFans. Then they're going to find me and expose me. Oh, of course I do.
Oh, my goodness.
Who wouldn't want to see Sugar Bear out here shaking it for $1? You know what I'm saying? Big boys need love too, Ryan. You're a married family man. I am single like a Pringle, and I got to get it where I can get it. So that's what I do. But anyway, we're here to talk about PC Gazer out here talking reckless and crazy. You're off camera today, hiding out, sneaking. So we got a lot of stories to get to. So hop to it. Let's get the first one going.
All right. First story we have up is a leaked Apple roadmap hints that there will be an iPhone SE4, a foldable iPhone, and AR glasses coming soon. It's going to be a busy few years for Apple. And wow. I've heard the story about an upcoming AR glasses launch from Apple for years and years and years from Robert Scoble. And he keeps saying, "Oh, it's the next event, WWDC. It's happening." Now they do have that VR AR headset coming, and that seems nice, but it's not nearly as nice as this little picture right here of this pair of regular looking sunglasses, which I think is where it needs to be. What do you think?
Why didn't you buy the Apple Vision Pro yet? Everybody's talking about it. It's the new wave. Why aren't you focused on that? Why don't you have it yet?
I bought the Quest 3.
You did.
And then I took it back to the store.
Why'd you take it back to the store?
I had 2 glorious days. They were great. I put them on. I was playing the games. I flew a rocket ship. I shot a bow and arrow. I was having so much fun. It was exciting.
And then you made a mistake.
Yeah. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
No. Tell the fans, tell the viewers the mistake you made.
The mistake I made was
you don't even know what you did wrong.
I don't.
You bothered me about your bullshit and you texted me that you bought it.
Yes,
you were so excited, right?
Yeah, I know. And I said I hate that you're right all the damn time. You said it was trash, and I was all excited, and I was sitting here going, "This is the future, and I can't wait. I'm gonna watch everything on this. This is my new home. I'm gonna live in these glasses. I'm gonna work in these glasses." And you said, "Dude, it's trash. It's trash. Trust me, it's trash." And not 48 hours later, I was so fed up with them that I took them back to the store.
First of all, I got a friend who wanted to buy a new truck. He's broke all the time. I'm like, bro, you can't buy a new truck. So what does he do? He gets drunk one day and crashes his truck into a tree. Hey, I got to go buy a new truck. Don't buy a new truck. You can't afford a new truck. Goes out and he buys a used truck. Well, fine. I bought a used truck. I'm like, you still shouldn't have bought any truck. You bought a truck that was too new. Long story short, within a year, he finds out that his truck that he bought was a lemon. And he's looking at me talking about, I hate that you're always right. One, I told you don't buy a new truck. He is a guy that could build you a house without schematics. He is a guy that could rebuild your car engine without even looking at it. But what he can't do is be financially stable with something high priced. And he also can't resist to buy something more than what he can afford or more than what he deserves or more than what he could have at any given moment. If he'd have bought an older truck, it don't matter how it breaks down besides hitting a tree with it. He could have fixed it. But now he bought something that was too new and it's a lemon and he can't fix the things that are wrong with it. But it was an older truck. He could have fixed it with his eyes closed. But now he's got a computer problem. And he calls me when they have to fax in his checks to his company. Because he's not faxing, scanning. He can't even scan checks and stuff like that. He's not computer savvy. So just listen to me. Lawnmower Man, my whole life, I've been a hater on AR, VR, Tartar. I just don't like it. We're not there yet. One day we will be, but we're not. That's just like everybody in Apple Vision Pro. Yes, if you got a podcast, you're still talking about it. But everybody else, Even I Justine, I ain't heard a peep. So Apple foldable phone, cool. All they're gonna do is tell me how great it is and magical it is. And I'm like, Samsung's been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. They've actually perfected it. I see so many people with the foldable phones. I might get one of those because I desire nothing more in my heart than to go from having this Pro Max, than having this Pro Max cut in half and taking up half the space in my pocket. I desire that with all my heart and soul. Glasses, not so much.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of the foldable phones, but
But Apple's gonna make it lighter and magical.
yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna say what you said about the VR headset. It's garbage. It's not as good. You've got for one, no matter what, you're gonna have a screen that is more capable of being scratched. And little dust particles get in there. You go to the beach, sand gets in there. Your junk's gonna get scratched. It's not gonna last.
I ain't heard nobody about no junk scratching, balls itching. I ain't heard none of that from those Samsung people with foldables. Because every time I see a foldable, I ask them to touch it. I open it. I play with it. I look at it. And then the first version, you're right, they did crack a lot. The screens did. But these newer versions, they're on version 4 now. They got it down pat. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should wait for Apple to get to the second wave of it to fix all the things they're going to have. Because remember Bendgate? When the iPhone was made with aluminum and it was bending, so
never buy the first generation of any Apple product.
You're probably right about that, but I want it. I want an iPad in my pocket. Wow, I can't wait.
Speaking of wanting more Apple products, the United States is suing Apple right now.
What?
It says that Apple has a monopoly because it has too much market share. And so the Justice Department is suing Apple in an antitrust case, saying that the iPhone maker has a monopoly over the phone market and has harmed customers, developers, and rival companies. Apple's ecosystem, including the Apple Watch and Apple Pay, supports that monopoly, according to prosecutors. Now, look, Android exists, and Android is flourishing. Samsung has a huge market share out there. You know, I don't see an antitrust like saying, well, they have a monopoly over everything. What I do see is what Europe did, where they said, okay, you can't keep people from developing software for your platform and putting it on their own app store. I see that, but I don't see a monopoly over the hardware. I just don't see that happening right now. I don't think it'll be as successful as they think it will be.
So you weren't here because you were busy doing your own thing. The same thing I said about Nikon trying to withstand the suing from Red on their proprietary RAW stuff. Red has won so many battles in court that it just bolsters their patent. So the EU suing Apple and winning opens up the floodgates for America to do the same. And my goodness, if it's good enough for England, why isn't it good enough for us here in America? And Samsung has a whole different issue because you can load things on Samsung outside of their store. So you can't do that here. So no matter what, Apple about to have to bend over and pony up, and they better do it on their own accord so they don't have to bend the knee for the full weight and request of the DOJ. I appreciate it, though. I'm very excited. Very excited about this. Very excited. It makes me happy.
I'd be happy if it meant opening up the App Store here in the U.S. I was kind of bummed that only applies to the EU.
Like I said, dreams do come true, and it can happen for us. It can happen. I believe in it. Have faith. I actually don't have faith. This is the American government, and we can't do anything right. Carry on. Be sad.
All right. Let's see what we got here. The Google researchers have unveiled Vlogger, an AI that can bring still photos to life. So you give it a still photo, and then you can vlog to your heart's content and look just as gorgeous as you did the moment that photo was snapped. What do you think about that?
So I think it's going to make more work for you because we're at the point now where we're going to have like 10 episodes under our belt. And all I'm going to have you do is go repurpose other people's AI videos on Instagram and TikTok so that we can build up 1 billion followers. And this will make it a whole lot easier. So I already have something. You can copy my voice. and you can write copy, and then you could just go out there and pump these out, and you don't even have to be you. You could just be me, and I'm going to Photoshop myself so that I look perfect, and everybody's going to be happy. Or, you know what I thought about with these things when I first saw them? Because this is obviously more in depth and in detail. But remember when it first started going around where you put a picture in and you can make the picture sing or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter is like, oh, you should do that with Pop Pop with my dad who's passed away. And it made me so sad to think of that, of him like moving around in a picture. Now I watch videos, I have videos and stuff of my dad, and like I watch those things or whatever. But something that would be new to my brain made me feel uneasy about using someone who's passed away. If it's a video like old video of my dad, like I've watched it 100 times, I know exactly what he's going to say, I know the mannerisms. But to put a script to a voice of someone like that or music to it and have him sing a song, oh, it freaks me out. It freaks me out
Yeah.
the things that you could do now.
It brings to mind that one service where you can have an artist paint your passed away family member into a family portrait. That is about as far as I would want to take it. I
Yeah.
definitely would not want to animate my grandmother, rest her soul, and have her dance to some song. I don't think there's any enjoyment to be had there. It's just it's a path to tears is all it is.
Yeah, I want to do that. I it is super corny. Last name Stone, obviously, so Superman's our jam. And I wanted to just have my grandfather, my dad, me, and my daughter, like as Superman and her as Supergirl, obviously, in a portrait, in a family portrait. And AI is good enough now that I could actually do that on my own. I wouldn't even have to like go out and have someone else do it. But that was like always something that I wanted. And I just, like I said, makes me kind of sad. So I haven't done it. But like now that my daughter's like older, she's like at her formidable age where she's going to kind of look like she looks for a long enough time now. So yeah, that would be cool. I could deal with that. The whole having somebody moving around. But again, for our purposes, for you, look, I'm gonna farm you out, just making mini versions of me to spread across the internet like the plague. What's next?
I'm gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Facebook is trying to make poking cool again. Apparently, the company announced on Tuesday that it recently improved the platform's suggestions on who to poke and also made it easier to find the poking page. I didn't even realize this was a thing through search. Plus, Facebook added the ability to poke a friend when you search for them on the social network. So, nothing lets your friend know that you're stalking them more than adding a little poke.
Have you never been poked before?
I have never been poked, thank goodness.
Oh, wow. Look at you. I do remember poking being a thing. I don't know that we need poking to be a thing now. What I need for it to do is have a way better algorithm. It's like I know that they show you the people that you see and engage with more often, but also if I saw other people, I would engage with them because the only time I see them is when it's their birthday and their gets tagged a billion times, or if I have to search them out because I'm thinking of them and then they'll just come on my feed all the time. Facebook is so garbage right now. It's like every third post is a suggested post and every fourth post is an ad. And I'm not seeing the people that I'm actually following or want to know about anymore. So I just use it to puppy mill out information if I even use it at all. But yeah, bringing back poking. I can't believe you've never been poked, bro.
No, I'm kinda glad. I don't know if I'd wanna be friends with somebody that poked me.
It's too
Yeah,
late now. You're all married. Like I said, got a
yeah.
family. Ain't nobody allowed to poke you now because it would have been like an old high school girlfriend that came to poke you. Like, hey, what's up? I know we haven't talked in a long time. I was just, checking in. So you poked me? Okay, weirdo.
Yeah. Be like, "Hey, my ex poked me." Yeah, I'm sure that would go over well with the
Oh,
missus.
so good. So good.
Yeah. All right, next up on the agenda from the BBC, commercial Bank of Ethiopia had a glitch that let customers withdraw millions. More
Million?
than 40 million was withdrawn rather, or transferred to other banks, according to local media in Ethiopia. It actually took several hours for the institution to realize what was going on and stop the transactions from happening. That could be a big problem. But you know what? I tell you what, there's a certain politician here in the United States that could definitely use a loan of a few $1,000,000. And man, all he has to do now is just call up some Ethiopians.
So I'm extremely tired this evening, Ryan. I woke up earlier than I ever usually do, and I need a nap, and I'm going to have a nap. But this is your future. I don't know what you're doing with your money, but my goodness, God, not financial advice. Find some way to keep some cash at the crib. Just find some way to keep some cash at the crib. Because when it messes up and you get free billions, that's cool. When you roll up to the bank and you can't get $2, that's a problem. And I don't know what's going on. We got this lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse coming. They're taking kids out of school. First time in a million. Like all this stuff's going on. They put that movie out on Netflix. Like, I don't trust the bank right now. So get some money and stuff it in your mattress is all I'm trying to say. And if you're in Ethiopia, get out so they don't ask for that money back. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be a brink truck at your front door, and dudes with guns are going to be like, all right, bro. We need that back. Oh, that's so crazy. But that's the problem with everything being electronic and money's not real.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand exactly how were millions of dollars like sitting in the ATM, or were they transferred to an account? In which case they could get it back. You know, there's got to be some kind of a trail.
So you hear about that all the time, right? Where somebody they wake up and they got $2.4 million in their account. Now, here's the thing. You catch it quick enough, you're right, they can pull it out. But you don't, somebody's smart enough to transfer it. Now you got to go hunt that person down. They got to repay it.
Oh.
So that's a whole thing to do in itself, which is a wild and scary proposition.
Yeah, this is why I kind of like Bitcoin.
Well,
you know, you always hear, oh, well, the government seized billions of dollars of Bitcoin from this agency or this pirate or something like that. But they never actually seize that coin. It has to be given up willingly.
Yeah.
It's always voluntarily given for a lighter prison sentence.
Yes.
So,
yes, they're not seizing it, because if you come from mine, good luck unless you got my passcodes. You can seize me all you want to, and I wouldn't even give it up. See, God, again, I hate trying to give criminal advice, but some people would say you should have 2 to 3 wallets, and then you diversify your money. And if somebody ever came for your money, you'd give them one wallet and say, this is my wallet. And then boom, you're safe. And you still got another wallet with the real. I'm not telling you what to do. This isn't financial advice. What else we got going
on? Elon Musk. Yes, we're talking about him again. Musk SpaceX is building a spy satellite network for U.S. intelligence agency, according to sources at Reuters. SpaceX is building a network, hundreds of spy satellites under a classified contract with the U.S. intelligence agency. Now, I have trouble believing this one. I really do.
Starlink?
Starlink is the internet satellite thing where they're launching hundreds of satellites. Are they saying that there's some kind of a government piggyback on that is spying on everybody?
So I don't believe this story either. I'm just saying it because a not reputable source put it out because it's got a good following. But I will say this. It would be odd for the government not to be able to piggyback off of that technology. Right? Like, we keep talking about TikTok all the time, and all it is because of lobbyists who want that money. That's all it's for. Lobbyists want that money, and they want that algorithm, and that's why they need you to sell TikTok. That's the only reason why. Only reason why. And I'm going to look for a video to prove that while you talk about this. So you know they're doing this, right? You know the government. You can't trust the government.
I used to work for right-wing conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
And
chemtrails.
Chemtrails and all of that, you know, inside jobs and fuel melting steel beams. This is the most plausible conspiracy theory I've seen yet. and I still don't believe it. And I don't believe it because Elon Musk cannot keep his mouth shut about anything. Like, he is not able to keep a secret to save his life. He talks about everything to everyone that will listen, and he has not said word one about this.
That's actually a good reason to not believe it. You swayed me. You rarely do, but you swayed me because he can't stop running his mouth. He can't not run his mouth. So hold on one second. I'm gonna hop in here and do the same thing that you're doing, and let me pull this out separately so that we can watch it together. And do. This is whole music for the people listening on audio. Allow me. There we go. So let's watch this. Let's watch this video together. It's a TikTok. It's a couple minutes long, and it's just about guys getting caught and why TikTok isn't really an issue, but it's not an issue, but it is an issue. And
I apologize.
He sold out the American people for the price of a used Hyundai.
can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it fine.
Okay, good. Because sometimes I can't hear it, so you can hear it. We're good.
I apologize.
He sold out the American people for the price of a used Hyundai Elantra. Like 16 bans. That's all it took to get him to vote yes to ban TikTok.
And that is why I have been completely roasted on this app over the last 48 hours. And I get it. If I were in your shoes, I would probably feel the same way. I would see someone who used this app to build a following and then appears to have voted against it, and I would be upset.
He thinks you're stupid. That's why he made this apology video. Congress wasn't counting on everyday Americans to find out AIPAC funded the bill.
The bottom line is there's a serious concern that the Chinese government can influence what you see on your For You page. They can tweak the algorithm in ways that may be helpful to them and harmful to us. But what those other social media companies don't have is an adversarial government that can influence the algorithm to manipulate the content you're shown in ways that will.
America doesn't have an adversarial government. Our government is obviously adversarial because they're taking payments to go against another company in America. Yeah. The things that he's saying, he's already speaking against himself.
Help them politically. That's a difference, and it's a big one. TikTok is owned by a company based in China, and China has a national security law that gives its intelligence services a lot of power. Hey, you have to change the algorithm for American users in these specific ways. TikTok has to comply. The effect could be subtle, but persistent. We got a big example of how that power could be used last week, and it wasn't subtle. A huge pop-up notification validated everyone's concerns. It didn't mention anything about the actual intent of the bill, which is to force a sale and allow TikTok to continue operating. It just mischaracterized the bill and then told everyone to take political action based on that mischaracterization.
He gave you this pop-up as evidence that the CCP is manipulating the American people. Like Facebook and Instagram didn't sell grandma and grandpa's data in 2016 to convince them that the liberals were eating babies and then vote for Trump. He thinks you're stupid, just like the rest of Congress. They think that they can convince you that it's really China's fault if this app goes away because we have security concerns about the ownership of their shit. Like, they're overcomplicating it. It's really this simple. We want to force another country to give us their algorithm for a social media platform because we're not happy with what happened when we were using the app. It doesn't matter how the bill is written. This is a ban. Jeff Jackson knows this. The rest of Congress knows this. They're just disguising it so it doesn't make them look like the First Amendment bad guys. And that's why he's backtracking and making another video talking about how the only reason why he voted for the ban is because he doesn't think it's going to happen. Like, literally, that's his excuse now.
When I was reading the bill, the part I agreed with was the part that tries to force a sale, because I figured this would just be a better app if we didn't have to worry about the stuff that comes with it being potentially controlled by an adversarial government. The part I didn't like was the part that threatens a ban. Half the country is on this app. It has become a force for good in the lives of millions of people. So I weighed those two things, and the reason I voted for it was because I genuinely believe the chance of a ban is practically zero.
China can't sell TikTok. It's literally against their laws. They're not selling their 10% stake of TikTok. They're divesting their control over the speech and facial recog, over the algo that powers the entire app, all the technology that they've built to make it work up until today. And all your Congress members knows it, and they're just being punked by Starbucks or like Walmart or like Target or all the other companies that have been losing money because of the way we've been talking about the conflict in the Middle East.
So yeah, it's funny to me because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And at the end of the day, the problem they have with TikTok is the power of TikTok. And the one thing I'll say about the Chinese Communist government is just controlling everything is Kellogg's right now is taking the name of Kellogg's off of Pop-Tarts because that CEO came out and said, oh, cereal's a great thing to do for eating dinner if you're broke and poor and the economy is crushing your lifestyle. Again, not to get political, but the app does let people get together, find rallying points, and there's no chokehold on the information. I'm on Instagram all the time. I got a sports page and still big booty bitches be popping up all the time. I haven't clicked on one of them. I'm not looking for one. I'm literally doing only sports content that I create. I'm only following sports creators, not even my friends on this account. And I still get these Instagram booty shaking girls all the time that algo tries to serve me because men of my age like that. And I'm like, well, men of my age also like sports. Serve me what I want. On TikTok, all I see is sports. That's it on that account. All I see is sports stuff. Horrible takes by a lot of people, but only sports. So that's what they want to get. That's what they want to discredit. That's what they want to destroy and move away from the American people. Ways for them to get together in group and say, oh, let's ban, not ban. See, got banned on my brain. Let's boycott Kellogg's. They're losing millions and other companies are too. And I'm about to start my own personal boycott against Nickelodeon, but that's for another day. Not going to bring it up on the tech show. What's our next story?
All right. Well, you were talking about the big booty ladies. Pornhub. Pornhub says adios to Texas. So Pornhub and its affiliate websites. You know how there's not only one website. They own every one of its competitors as well. Has basically blocked IPs out of Texas, and I feel it. I'm in Texas, and I lost my Pornhub. I'm very sad about it. I'm sorry?
What happens when you go to Pornhub?
You go to Pornhub and it basically says, nah, Texas sucks.
Go to Pornhub right now. I want to say, go to Pornhub.
Okay.
Right now.
I'm gonna do this live. I'm gonna do this live. All right. Let's see. Pornhub.com.
This is the first time we ever been able to go. Oh, 403. This is the first time on a tech show somebody dared to have the balls to type in Pornhub.com. I mean, we're not live right now, technically, but if we were live, I would be nervous.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not using my work computer. But yeah, it basically gives you this letter that says, dear user, your elected officials in Texas are requiring us to verify your age. So not only does this impinge on the rights of adults, but it basically means we're not giving you any porn until they change that law. And
so I understand keeping porn out of the eyes of the youth and the children, but I also understand that, like, when I go on Pornhub, I'm not logged in, signed in. I want no trail of what's going on. Again, not financial sexual advice, but I've got a deep fake thing on my phone from when I use it, so nobody could accidentally get into my porn that I might look my. And don't be looking at me, judging me because my porn is mobile. Porn is mobile now, okay? Porn is portable. The days of sitting in front of your computer and having to wipe off your keyboard and mouse are over. I'm sorry. If your porn ain't portable, you must have a whole setup in your little dungeon going on. But back to Texas. This is something that more companies should do with Texas and places like that. Oh, you want to ban abortion? Fine. Trojans pulling out condoms. There's no more condoms. Like, what would happen then? Oh, you don't no plan B in Texas. Like, the amount of people that would vote them out faster than you could say what. Because I don't care who you think you are, evangelical, you believe in baby. I personally don't care what you believe either way. Pro-life, anti-life, whatever. My job is not to be inside your life. As an American, you have the freedom to do what you want to do in your home with your body individually. That is your choice. It is not the government's choice to do those things, whether I agree with it or not. I'm not saying what I agree with, but I'm saying if we have more companies doing stuff like this, then we would have freedom, because the companies always want to come out and say, well, this is too far and the government's done too much. Well, when you put certain people in power and lifetime positions in these judges and they're coming out here taking away our rights, ugh. But Pornhub, man, look, I tell you what, there's a lot of angry constituents out there in Texas. I tell you that right now.
One of them. I'm one of them.
One of them. Happily married man don't even use Pornhub.
There's going to be a refugee crisis soon.
Well,
And there's going to be a whole lot of Texans migrating north to New Mexico or something, trying to get our freedoms back.
well, generally speaking, how bad is your immigrant issue down there in Texas right now? You overrun, you overwhelmed? Is it on the news
As a
every
Texan,
day?
I'm supposed to say that we're overwhelmed, but in Austin, I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere near as bad as Fox News makes it out to be. We have a problem with homelessness in Austin. That's the problem we have.
Yeah, but nobody cares about that. Money for wars can't feed the poor.
Yeah, we don't. The immigrants apparently don't come to Austin very much. I guess they're afraid that Abbott's going to put them on a bus and send them to Martha's Vineyard or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on there, but
or they get there and they see all the homeless people and they're like, "Look, we out." Yeah,
yeah. There's homeless camps everywhere, but yeah, immigrants, I don't see them. You know, it's just I don't see it.
well, just make sure you always keep a room ready for me in case I end up homeless. So I always got a home.
Oh, there's a room for you.
Texas. Always got a house. Always got a room. What's next?
All right. This one's a story you put in there. I'm still trying to figure out what this is all about. A delivery rider took on his faceless boss, according to what is this, Fortune?
Yeah.
Financial Times. On the morning of August 12, 2020, an Uber Eats driver, Armin Sami, woke up earlier than usual. He dressed, made coffee, sat down at his computer, remained for 16 hours coding a web application and filming videos to show other carriers how to use the service. He called it Uber Cheats. He published it online at midnight and made it free to use. Uber Cheats is an algorithm auditing tool. Sammy, who was working as a cycle courier for Uber in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time, had lost trust in the automated system. So he created his own software. I'm not sure I quite understand. What's the big deal on this one?
So, first of all, it's not a big deal. They should hire the guy.
They
right?
should.
The company should be like, wow, you did that on a Tuesday? Like, hey, come on in here. Come on in here. Hey, look, we're going to bring you behind the curtain and let you know you can't do this. But the fact that you did do this, there's some other things that we're working on, and you can go hop in with the team real quick. Your Ubering days are over. It's just funny to me that the corporations want to stop creativity because they want to bottleneck and handicap their own business because they need to keep the power. The same thing with surge pricing and all the nickel and diming and the things that they do to squeeze money out of people while not paying the people what they deserve. So much so now the government is trying to ban side hustles because they're like, well, they're taking advantage of you and not paying you your full freight. So we're going to have to put you on the payroll and you're going to have to pay taxes because you also deserve benefits. And Billy's like, I don't want benefits. I want to deliver pizzas on Tuesdays, just Tuesdays, not 40 hours a week, not every day, just Tuesdays. And now you're going to tax me out the wazoo because I'm now an employee for Tuesdays? It's a really, really just slippery slope with the gig economy going on right now. And I just saw this and I'm like, why is this a bad thing? But it's a bad thing because they don't want people making their apps more accessible, easier, more profitable without them being able to control it. And it's sad.
There is one part of this article that stands out to me, and I can see where this makes a lot of sense for this guy to have gone out of his way to make this app, is the miles that Uber was saying a certain trip took versus the miles that he was actually seeing on his odometer on his bicycle were not the same. And he was being cheated out of, half a mile here, half a mile there, and that money adds up. So I can see that being a very important thing to work on. What I'm just trying to understand, though, is why Uber feels that they need to pinch the pennies that much, and they need to stiff their workers. I mean, these people that are working for tips, basically. And I just don't get it. I don't like Uber. I've never liked Uber.
It's not, so let's take Uber out of it. This is every single company, every single business, every single bank. I remember a local bank to me, a small, well, they weren't small. They were a large section of banks only here in the tri-state. They ended up having to sell to a much larger bank because the CEO had some kind of algorithm or system where once a month he would take a nickel out of every person's savings account.
Whoa.
Now that doesn't sound like much. It's a nickel. But when you've got 30 million bank members, it ended up being millions and millions of dollars he was siphoning off people that no one ever noticed until someone noticed. You know what I'm saying? So every company, every corporation, everybody's got this thing where they're like, but if we could just get 15 cents. It's not about the half a mile. It's about the half a mile from 30,000 miles. That's the rub. Why would they need to do it? Because that penny pension turns into a million pension. And that's somebody pocketing that money. That's somebody getting a bonus who designed that algorithm to cheat you, getting a bonus. It's just corporate greed in America, and it's just terrible. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and they should get fined out the ass for it.
It does sound like a class action lawsuit would be a little bit more helpful than an app. But if an app proves the case, then the app's worth it. Okay.
The app is the forefront to a class action.
You convinced me on this one.
And also more inspiring for others to make apps in their perspective, side gig, side hustle thing, because it could be other things too. It could be time, tips. So again, case in point, I go deliver and I say, oh man, I'm mad. The person only gave me a $5 tip. How do I know they didn't give me $5.25? Because on my end, I wouldn't know. And unless I talk to the person, which you never do, you just deliver your stuff and you leave. It's all digital. So what if I wanted to take 10 cents out of every tip or whatever they want to do? There are multiple ways that they're just ripping people off, and I know that they're doing it. So this is a good prelude to hopefully scaring companies into stopping that little nickel and diamond on their employees. What's next? I'm glad I convinced you.
Next up is Apple. You know how last week we talked about how it killed its car. You know, we were all going to have this big Apple car launch, and that is never going to happen. But apparently Apple is actually leveraging its CarPlay feature that is already available in most cars sold, at least in the United States, to take on Google and Android in a brand new way. And they're going to leverage their AI assets to try to beef up its CarPlay offering. Do you think this is how Apple could potentially make up some of that ground that it lost by canceling its car?
So I read this article. I read sometimes. The one thing I don't understand is when someone says Apple and AI. Apple has AI? Apple uses AI?
It says it's going to. It has bought AI companies. But from what I hear, Apple's actually looking at possibly leveraging Google's own Gemini, which I don't see how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I read that before, and I'm like, okay. So Apple doesn't have its own AI. Siri is trash. She could barely pick the songs out that I want. So I don't know. What are they going to do? This is going to enhance it. I mean, easy enough. It is more elegant and it looks better than Android Play. So I get that, but I mean, I don't know what they could do. And just throwing the word AI in it does not appease me or impress me or make me believe that they're going to do some vast improvement, that they're going to become the number one. Like, it just depends on what phone you got, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
What phone do you have? That's what I want to plug in. That's all I want.
You know, on my phone, I have the OpenAI app, and it has this text-to-speech thing where I can actually just have a conversation with the AI just while I'm driving down the road talking to it. And I'll ask it like all these questions. Oh, tell me about Julius Caesar. Who was his general? You know, what battles did he fight in? You know, all this other stuff. And I can have like a whole meaningful conversation. I don't know how much of it is accurate. I don't think it's accurate at all. But it's way better than Siri or Google Assistant have ever been.
It's got to
And
be somewhat accurate. I assume it's pulling from like Wikipedia or like an encyclopedia or something, a history book for most of this information. Because I test those kind of things. I've been testing those kind of things with the Bible stuff. I'm like, oh, tell me about Ham, the son of Noah, and then I start listening to it. But the problem is with the AI right now is it would go off on a tangent to where it didn't keep the main thing. Like I'm not a religious person, but I've read the Torah, the Quran, the Bible, all Bibles. I read all of them, so I know all of them. I kind of have them committed to memory. But anyway, so when it starts saying things, I'm like, wait a second. This now we've gone off the rails. Like, where are we at? Like, reel it back in. So AI is really funny. Like, where, like you said, not you said, but like you said, some of it's not accurate. I'm like, where are you pulling this information from? Because you started off really good, but I assume that they're getting it from someone's book for information to just regurgitate to you.
right. And not all books are created equal. There are some.
Not all books are created equal. You're right. Old Testament and New Testament, bro. Very different. I'm like, they're the same, but they're not. And it's like, well, who wrote that? Not to get people are gonna be so mad at this episode. I apologize. I'm not trying to be political or religious. I'm just using references that are easy to understand. What's the next story before I get myself in more trouble? Listen to myself. I just sound terrible today. This is what happens when I'm tired. I'm thinking about crazy stuff right now. My brain is just mush and craziness.
Yeah, that's normal. The Wall Street Journal had an article about the breakup of Elon Musk and Don Lemon. Don Lemon interviewed Elon Musk on his first episode on the X platform, that Elon Musk was paying Don Lemon and giving him some money to host a show after Don Lemon was fired from CNN for all these allegations or whatever. And Don Lemon asked Elon Musk some questions that made Elon Musk a little sad. And Elon, in the middle of the interview, said, I don't have to answer any of these questions. The only reason I'm doing this is because you're on my platform. And right after the interview, Elon Musk texted Don Lemon and said, contract canceled. You're fired.
So partnership. It was a partnership. It's not firing. It's a parting of ways. Did you watch this interview?
I watched some of the interview. I did not watch the whole thing.
So homework for next week. Watch the interview. I'm going to watch it too. I watched part of it too, but I didn't watch the whole thing. And it's amusing to me that CNN had him back on to do the interview, like Don Lemon, the interview, to talk about the things that he did, because the clips he put out were very pale and calm. But then there were a couple things we got into him about racism on the app and xenophobia on the app and stuff like that. He's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, free speech this. And it's like, again, like you said in the beginning, Elon just talks too much.
Yeah.
And not only does he talk a lot, he talks with such arrogance that when he gets put into a situation like that, it's a no-win situation for him. Because unless it's a fan or a friend or someone with the same ideological beliefs, he's going to get asked a question to where he is aloof and estranged and disconnected to reality with. And it's going to make him look like a crazy person.
Yeah. And
to some people, they're like, oh, yeah, it's great. He's like, listen to what he said, bro. He's not focused. He's not rational. This has no empathy in speech. And that's fine if you're a smart robotic person. I mean, I look at Mark Zuckerberg, he just looks like data. He has no emotion, no heart, no feelings. He tries so hard to be a real boy all the time, but he's just not. He's just a soulless man with an app. So Elon at least has a little bit more feel than that, but he doesn't have the touch. He doesn't grasp certain things. So sitting down with somebody like Don, it's just like, dude, you know, he's no saint, perfect person either, but you just had to know he was going to ask you questions to put you in a compromising position for what you're trying to do and who you're trying to be and who you are. So just a weird thing for him to do anyway in the first place.
I think Elon could have skated through this interview, because these are not any different than any of the questions he's getting from Twitter, from CNN, NBC, any of the other news orgs are asking him the same questions. And he's been aware that he was going to ask about all these things well in advance, I'm sure.
Well, that was my thing. Did he have an advance? He had
I'm
that.
sure he did.
Don't give me the questions ahead of time.
Dude, you're going on with Don Lemon, so you know Don Lemon's going to ask the liberal questions.
Yeah.
He's going to ask the questions from the left perspective, and it's going to hit on the exact same things that everyone talks about when they talk about Elon.
Yeah.
And
You had to know.
I think he could have been better prepared. You know, you don't go into a debate without reading a couple articles and coming up with some talking points. And I think this is Elon's mistake. And you know what? Don Lemon, he can make his money. He can get money. He made $24 million by being fired from CNN. So it's not like Don Lemon's hurting for this contract.
No. And the exposure, he still has the exposure. He's just not making money with them. He still can post the show there, still get the views there, and still get paid on the back end through the regular advertising means. So it's just a weird thing. And at the end of the day, for those who get mad, Elon is not as smart as you think he is. He's a businessman. He's not Tony Stark. He's not building a spaceship. He's not building a spacesuit. He didn't build those cars. He went into some guys that had financial problems. He bought the company from them, kept the engineers, and boom, Tesla. And it almost failed. He got helped up by his buddies to keep it afloat. But he didn't build the car. He doesn't build the technology. He's just a boss. He made PayPal. He knows about money. His parents gave him money on the backs of others, by the way. He's not a super genius. So when he sits down in front of Don Lemon and you're not as smart as everybody thinks you are, you end up looking like a fool. And he looked like a fool.
Yeah. Elon didn't found SpaceX. He didn't found, well, he didn't found the company that made the technology that became SpaceX. He didn't found Tesla. He became a partner later on and then made himself a founder as part of his deal. And, he basically walks into existing companies and existing technologies and does a little marketing spin on them. And he's a good marketer. Steve Jobs was a great marketer. Did he invent anything? No, not at all.
No, but it's just the Tony Stark thing that kills me the most. Like, he's got the money, but not the brains. Like, it's just, and again, financial brains versus ingenuity and engineering brains. It's just so tied together because he's in tech now. So everybody thinks he's some tech genius. He's not. He's a salesman. He is a great salesman. And a lot of it is snake oil because you don't understand how good of a salesman he is. That's going to make somebody mad at me. Don't email me. I don't give a shit. Anything else left?
I think actually we already covered. We had TikTok. Let's just ask for a prediction from you. Is the TikTok ban going to pass? And if so, are they going to sell?
It is going to. Bold statement. It's going to pass. They're going to ban TikTok and the nation will burn. And then it'll come back because we're like, oh, my bad. Let's redo this. Let's rethink this.
I think Jeff Bezos is going to buy him.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Jeff wants to get into the social media game.
He wanted to get into space after Elon did.
Guess.
I just think those billionaires are playing little one-up games.
Yeah, you say that. That sounds really good. When you say it like that, all right, fine. Maybe Bezos buys it.
I can't think of anybody else who would want to buy it. Truth Social is apparently on the auction block right now. You want to buy that? Fire sale.
Why don't we buy TikTok, Ryan?
I don't want to buy TikTok.
What?
That's all I need is all my Republican relatives telling me that I'm a Chinese asset. I don't need any conspiracy theories about
If
me.
we bought it, we wouldn't be an asset anymore.
That doesn't stop conspiracy theories from conspiracizing.
Well, that's true. That's true. You're absolutely right about that. If you made it here this long, I appreciate you so much. Again, I apologize if you feel like my energy was weird. If you thought my energy was great, then maybe I should just be tired more often. So leave a comment and tell me if you like me more subdued and less crazy, even though I did get a little crazy when we talked about porn. I always do. But subscribe on YouTube, like it on the internet, and tell us what you think about TikTok. Are you a TikToker? Are you crying? Are you sad? Are you mad? Are you happy? I have a lot of friends that have been posting on Facebook, obviously, about how TikTok needs to be banned. They're buying the whole commie thing, hook and ladder. Like they're like, this is like Russia in the 70s. And I'm like, this is absolutely nothing like the Cold War. What are you talking about? Like, man, these politicians, boy, you give them a little check and they can spin some yarn on people. They can spin some yarn, especially uninformed Americans that don't really know what's going on, but all they know is that their kids are cracked out on it and they don't like that. So they're like, there's got to be something wrong with it. There's got to be something wrong. Too many kids are addicted to TikTok. Well, fucking them ban Cocomelon. Okay, how about that? Because that's killing kids out here. They got to like crack cocaine out here for some Cocomelon. How about we ban that? Follow Ryan on the Twitter. You can follow me on the Twitter too. And like I said, like, share, subscribe. We appreciate you for hanging out. ONJ Student KO Dr. Ryan, Matthew Pierce, PC Gazer, and we're out.